A lot of people we see, a lot of our clients, not on purpose, but because they've been following outdated strategies, they're trying to rush the romance. They're trying to rush the process. They got to know you, they got to respect you, they got to trust you. They're willing to test it and go have coffee with you and have a conversation and go deeper. And it might take 2 or 3, and then what? They buy you. But if you try to rush it, I just met you and now I'm going to, like, let's say, let me give you a quick example. If I'm single again and I'm dating or you're dating, just kind of picture this with me. And we go through, we're at a restaurant and we're there by ourselves and we're waiting for a table. And we, come up next to somebody and somebody we like. Oh, there's chemistry here. And we go, hey, can I get your phone number? I'd love to take you out for a coffee. That'd be pretty normal, right? That'd be like normal human being stuff. She gives me the phone number. And then I immediately go, okay, thanks for the phone number. Can you give me your physical address now? Would that be normal or would that be creepy? How many say creepy? How many say creepy? Raise your hand or type yes in the chat window. Creepy, right? What's your marketing like? Is it creepy? A lot of people we see, a lot of our clients, not on purpose, but because they've been following outdated strategies, they're trying to rush the romance. They're trying to rush the process. There's a cycle to relationship building, and we're walking you through that right here, right now. This is the map for it, right? They got to know you, they got to respect you, they got to trust you. They're willing to test it and go have coffee with you and have a conversation and go deeper. And it might take 2 or 3, and then what? They buy you. Same thing there, same thing in business. But is that really intentionally how you're really setting things up for you to win? Most people, it's no, because they've never had it explained this simply before. So an appointment model, one of the common education-based conversion events, a lot of our service businesses fall into this. They'll have different ads, Google, LSA, YouTube, a bunch of different other places. And basically they're promoting, repair your HVAC or fix your HVAC or fix your heating system, fix your cooling system, et cetera, right? So that's an education-based event, because now the education is whoever is handling that call. But the first thing we need, and if you're not on mute, please put yourself on mute. And Phil, please handle it. If you have a call, the education-based process starts there. How many times do we get a chance to make a first impression usually? Once. We get one chance to make a first impression, and then we have to earn the ability to keep it as a lasting one. If I called your company right now and your phone number on your website, whatever it is, what happens? Here's a common thing that happens. On a weekend, like we are right now, it rolls to a voice message. Are you a pro or are you an amateur? Now, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I've been there too. But at least get a voice service to take the thing live. At least. You can pay $100 a month to have that full coverage and maintain a higher standard than your competition. We see this with real estate brokers, real estate agents, consultants, coaches. High stakes stuff. And it's rolling to a dang voicemail. One of the things we do with service businesses is, okay, we're going to, however they're finding you. It could be any of those, 20 different spokes in the wheel that they're finding you on your website or ads or whatever. And then they call. They're ready to call. They're ready to call you, call me. And they call. And then it goes to a voicemail. In a service business, guess what they do next? How many know the answer? They're going to the next number or next Google listing, and they're calling the next one to get their problem solved when? When you're available or now? How many say now? How many say now? If you say now, type now in the window. Or you just acknowledge somehow. Now, right? So many people have good intentions, spend a lot of money, spend money on ads, and then they do this. One of the things we do is we have our team do shopping, basically secret shopping to kind of see the processes, the real truth of the business under the hood, not the theoretical nonsense. And I hope you will take your own diagnostic and do this for your business too, and find places you can patch this up. Because when you patch these up in like these, where there's probably, there's about 80 different categories we do this in, it takes a little bit of incremental improvements in 80 areas, and we can get 10x, 20x, 50x lifts sometimes. This is one critical one we see all the time for a lot of service professionals of some type, consulting, training, local businesses, and more, is like it's just unprofessional. Or it's just not as professional as it could be to have the competitive advantage. Do you just want to be like everybody else, or do you want an advantage? These are strategies also for you to get the advantage to scale up what you want to do, not just stay or play small. Right? Play small if you want. I'm challenging you here, encouraging, empowering you that you can do this for so much less than you think, both in time and also money. Don't blow it. Someone calls you. That's the first chance to get the conversion. And now, I'm going to go call the next Google listing. Someone who, deals with my needs right now. People are microwave minded, aren't they? They're microwave minded. So are you serving that or are you repelling it? Right? So the appointment model, right? You have leads that come into appointment page or an actual number, right? I'm going to just put 800, but it could be a local number too. It doesn't matter. Then they're going to have a chance to have someone installer or service rep or, a team member review what they're doing. You get an appointment on the calendar, right? One of the ways to button this up to speed the conversion process is to have urgency, not to have people wait 2 or 3 weeks. Have them served in 48 hours or less, and ideally today on your pages and or in live person taking it, and then ultimately create a great experience. Then button that up with whatever they book with email, text, phone broadcast, as well as remarketing once they're in your ecosystem. You'd be amazed, again, for small budgets can get big impact overall. One of the clients that we're working with, we came in and reviewed his business beforehand. It's a local service business. Back in July, we were just doing the review of the process and then we got started. He was generating 25 leads a month. We came in, refined some of the things we're talking about, expanded his coverage because truly he was available 24/7, but he wasn't advertising that. We found those little gaps, those little hidden in plain sight thing. Maybe you have them, but most business owners we work with did. And after we started working with them, he's more than 3x'd his volume. This is one platform of dozens and one example of a client. Here's another client. They weren't even advertising. They're a local service, but not even advertising back in August. They just were like, we've tried it. It hasn't worked. This is not working for us. And, it's not huge volume. I just want to show you the progression. And then after we went through our analysis, found like the hidden blind spot, we did our research to say, hey, can we help get you leads and appointments to, serve? It's only 28 appointments, but to go from 0 to now 28x, and we can scale that, literally we'll take him to 100 appointments a month now, right? And this was just recently. You can see it in the date on the window. And whether it's this type of business, service pros, manufacturing, the things we've been talking about, or maybe you're an expert. I don't know if you know this guy here. Anybody know this guy, Joe Polish? If you don't know Joe, no worries. He runs a community called Genius Network. And before our work together with Genius Network, he had all kinds of amazing, he's somebody, some people would call him a thought leader. Some people would call him an influencer. Some people would call him the super connector. He's one of the best in the world at bringing high performing entrepreneurs together at Genius Network and his Genius Network events, amazing resources. And he had us come in and do what we're talking about, working with his company. Because even though he's an expert at marketing, one of the best in the world, he was like, I need someone to run it. I need someone to manage it. And, once he understood what we do, he said, I got a lot of assets that are under leveraged. I don't know if you feel that way. And we can't, my team can't keep up with it. They had a great list, great reputation. For 15 years, also was a sustainable, profitable company. He called his business hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating in some ways. He was the one doing most of the sales. He had to do a lot of hustle. He was running around to all kinds of events and he felt stuck. And then after our work together, we got our marketing system stuff in place and drove him to 100 applicants for his Genius Network a month from less than an average of 3 or 4 a month, 3 or 4 to 100 a month. How do you think if that were you, it would change your business? It was hockey stick growth. We 3x the company, exponential profits. And Joe had, said, we tripled the business, went from 67 members in this, $25,000 and then $100,000 program to 220 and selling out our annual event. His annual event sells for $10,000 for a 2-day event, selling it out with what we put in place, right? So what could this do for you? Now, I'm curious, do any of you do events? If you do events, can you type yes? I just want to get a feel, or just raise your hand, or, use the icons inside the Zoom platform. Is it yes? Yes, some of you. David, yes. Who else? John, no. Cool. This will still have applications, John. Stay tuned, my friend. All right. Yes, Gene. Awesome, Gene. Who else? Yes or no? Do you do some type of events? These could be webinars, challenges. The list goes on and on, right? List goes on and on. So if you'd like to boost results and increase your appointments 10 to 20% of your registrations, boost conversions 300 to 900% after your event, get 300% plus enrollments from people who never attended your training or replay, in fact, and get more leads, appointments, and clients, then you're going to want to pay really close attention to this thing. And again, we only have so much time, but having been at this for I've been doing this 30 years since I started my first company all the way back in 1992. So we'll call it the training class model. This includes things like challenges, webinars, webcasts, clinics. It could be live physical clinics in a place. It could be a live event. It could be a physical event. It could be a virtual event, and a bunch of in between. There's about 50 different names that are out there. But I really want you to pay attention to this, because even if you want to do an event, which I encourage you to do, Apple does events. Yes or no? They're the biggest brand in the world. The NFL, whether you love sports or you don't, they do events every weekend. Most people don't understand that model. Nike does events regularly. What about you? If you're not hosting some kind of virtual or live event, or maybe both, what is it costing you? Now, the key is you might go, I don't really know how to do it. Well, let's talk about some of the framework. And again, if you want to go deeper with us and we customize this for you and your scaling plan and your marketing blueprint, and ultimately to build mastery to this, whatever that is for you, then schedule a time with our team. And again, the link's somewhere on the page here that you've got at /apply, breakthrough3x.com/apply. So the training class model, virtual or live, you're going to have traffic from all these different sources, those spokes in the wheel. If you think of your traffic from now on, get that visual in your head. It's just spoke in the wheel. Most people, word of mouth, referrals. That's one. How do you get more spokes in the wheel to safeguard your business, protect your business, scale your business? That drives to a page where people typically will register, whether it's free or paid. Then you have a thank you page. Then again, you're going to have a series, and the series is really critical in an event model. So number one, if you're going to do an event model, we recommend what we call warm-up emails. The warm-up emails is designed to do what? Build know, trust, and respect in a cool way, not the douchey way, not the overly salesy way, but in a cool way, right? Romance. Think of it like we've been talking about, the romance in that first section. It's typically 5 emails, 1 a day, once they register, to get to know you. Just get exposure to you, get to know like some of your client work, whatever, right? It's building rapport, it's building trust, it's building respect. 5 emails. Then you're going to have in a second sequence leading up to the event, typically 5 to 7 messages. 5 to 7 messages. Now you can deliver. Here's really critical. Don't over text people. Really critical. At most, send 1 text a week on average. And if it's an event they've registered for, you can send a reminder the day before and a, hey, we're available now, we're going now. But if you start texting people more than 3 times in a couple of days, they're going to be pissed at you. This is what we found. So I would encourage you not to. So again, this is from a lot of data, millions of dollars in advertising and marketing with a lot of different clients to save you some time and anxiety and frustration. But emails every day, 5 days in a row. Then the 2 days before, usually you're going to have about 5 confirmation email reminders. Usually you'll have 1 text reminder the day before, whatever that event is, and then 1 around the time that event is starting. How many of you got text from us, just out of curiosity? If you got a text, can you type yes in the chat window? You got a text from us, so you actually see we're doing the things we're actually teaching. We're not theoretical here. We're doing what we're talking about, right? Yes, so some of you did, some of you may not, because maybe you didn't get your number in there. So this is the sequence up to the event. Warm up, confirmation. Look at it in that simple pipeline. Warm up, 5, email. 1 text in the warm up, 1 to 2 texts at most in the confirmation along with those emails. Next, now we're going to the more advanced model. So some of you are a little bit further ahead of the game. If you're not, don't get blown away by it, but this is a way we get more show ups. This is a way that we also get more conversion, even with people. In the last 7 years, we've tracked this. We have found that across the board with our clients doing any version of these kind of class trainings, webinars, etc., we can get 300 to 900% more sales with this approach. I'm going to outline for you, but we're going to go quickly. Again, if you want this applied directly to you, we can spend more time one-to-one and customize it for you as well, like we do with our clients. And with this, though, we find that over 70% of those enrollments after the training, they never attended the training, or if there were a replay made available, which I don't know about you, that's fascinating. So the easiest way I could describe this is you have a follow-up set up. Now I'm going to walk you through the follow-up that we've learned by what we've done and what we now know to work today versus what worked 6 months ago, which is different. So I'm going to give you that blueprint here in a second. So stay tuned on that. And here's a critical piece. This also takes some of the pressure. How many of you have heard, you've got to have the perfect webinar script, the perfect presentation, the perfect selling webinar? How many have heard this nonsense? Yes? Yes? Some of you? Tim, how about you? Have you heard this? John, have you heard this? Evelyn, have you heard this? Al, have you heard this? You got to have the perfect presentation. Now, maybe you have, maybe you haven't. No big deal. But if you have, I'm kind of making fun of some of the experts that rely on it. This also allows you to just be a cool human being and not have to worry about selling so much. Now, you will sell, especially if you follow what we show you, but you can just be a cool human being, providing value, adding value in your follow-up that we'll architect for you here in a second. And I'll explain the psychology. So once you have your training, one, you need resources set up ahead of time. So if you're going to drive to book a consultation, which is common, you set that up in advance. If you're going to drive to have people buy a product or service or whatever you've got available, you have that order page set up ahead of time before the process starts here after the training. This follow-up is typically 7 to 14 days. Daily email, once a week text, phone broadcast 3 times in that period, and remarketing ads going on. Again, I know I'm going pretty fast. Phil, we really got to slow this thing down. I think we're fire hosing everybody. So you have the day of the training going on. Then what is going to happen is the day after, which would be, we'll call this day, some people would call it day 1 in automations. I don't know how many of you are experts at automations, but if not, we're just going to count it as day 1, or I'm sorry, day 2. Today would be day 1 of an event. So day 2, typically this is a good time to add a replay if you're going to make, like, this is not going to be made available as a replay. For those of you who are here and showed up, we're honoring you for showing up. And there's a lot of advanced stuff here that we don't want to make available as a replay. You're getting it because you showed up, right? But if you were going to have the replay, which we do recommend for most businesses, is you would promote your offer and you'd promote the replay in the offer. And you do that 2 days in a row. And you put that replay, if you're using the replay model, if it's an appointment page, you put that replay on the top of the appointment page. Or if it's an order model, you put that replay on the top of the order page. Why? So they don't have to click to another place to go learn about what it is you're offering and making available. Everybody clear on this so far? Can you see how this little change of just taking, if you ever have done replays, seen replay, that just putting it in the one destination that you want them to go to anyway on the same place can increase your conversions? How many would say yes to that? Does it make sense? The data shows it too. That's the truth. That's more important than even just subjectively thinking it might. The data shows it. Okay, but we're not done, because now what we're going to do is, after the 2 days of that first, we'll call it the first series, we're going to go to a second series here. Now, the second series in the example we've got mapped out here is what we call the summary offer. How many of you have ever done events that you give an offer, you tell an offer, you describe an offer, and people still don't remember it? Have you all seen this to be true? There's a proof, neuroscience says that people retain less than 7 to 10% of an idea they hear. So most people are missing stuff, right? Would you agree with that? Right? So because of that, to assume they know exactly what your offer is just because you did it one time in the thing, they don't get it. So what do? You record a short video that's 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes that's summarizing the offer in detail. Again, what do you do with that video? You take the replay off the page that it was on, the appointment or the offer page, and you replace that video with a new video. So you're now creating a brand new experience, which now means you said, hey, we just released this new video to explain, because we get questions of people saying, can you tell me about that offer again, Tim? Can you tell me about that offer again, John? This is very normal in the psychology of this stuff. Very normal in almost any offer sequence. Now, mind you, 2 distinctions here. One, we took the video off, the replay. We replaced it with a new one. What do you think people are then going to likely ask you a few days later? Where is the what? What do you think the answer is? Where's the replay? Do you want more interaction with your audiences? Do you want to use scarcity and urgency that's actually, we'll call it healthy and genuine and authentic? This is a way that we have found that works really well, and it's not the bullshit urgency and scarcity that most experts do or teach. It's real, because we took one asset off. Now we're replacing it with another. We're going to do that another 3 times here in the sequence. So every time they're coming to that same page, you're creating a new experience. In other words, you're taking them to the Disney tram. You're taking them to the Disney roller coaster. You're giving them a new experience. And naturally, normal human being stuff, creating genuine authenticity, scarcity, and urgency. And you want them asking you, hey, I noticed the replay's gone. Can I see it? Well, you'd make it available. You'd put it on a separate page, but now you can actually get into a dialogue with them, or your team can. And then you can even drive them, well, why don't we have a chat one-to-one or talk about what we have? Are you open to that? Yeah, great. You're creating more dialogues. with this type of model. Can you all see how this would help you? I haven't even gotten to the other best parts, right? Next. So we do that for 2 days, roughly. Sometime, by the way, you might go, can I do it for longer? Yeah, you can do it. Usually we don't recommend more than 3 to 4 days per sequence here. You can switch the order, by the way. You can switch the order of what we're outlining from summary to this other one is FAQs. So is it common that you get questions from your clients? You probably have, if you know your business well enough, you know that there's probably 3 to 5 main objections and questions that you get from them that you might as well address them. So what do you do here? And you probably address some of it in your education event, but again, do people really have, 2, 3, 4 hours to go through this? Maybe not. So could you record a 3 to 5 minute video? What do? You record that video of FAQs, 3 to 5 FAQs. You put that on the page. You take the other one off the page. New experience. Hey, we just released a new video. We've been getting people who asked us a bunch of questions about this, and this. If you want the answer, go here. They go to the same destination. I hope you can start to see the power of this. This is how we've taken webinars that even performed well and turned them into rock stars. This is how we've taken subpar webinars. Like Phil, you probably know the client. He did this whole, I don't know if you've ever put a lot of work into your webinars, but I remember a client we were working with just had come on. He was really proud of his webinar model and all the work that he had done. He had paid a high level person to do this magic presentation thing. And that's great. And I'm sure it made him better, all for that. And what ended up happening is he did all that work and we said, well, we're going to build these pieces on the back of it. And he did all this work and his audience was small. He had a smaller list, smaller ecosystem and so on. And he had 10 people buy his thing. Now, I don't know about you, but that can be depressing when you have this, I'm putting all this work in and study it, and I get 10 sales. Can some of you relate to this? I don't know if you can relate. He was deflated. And he said, hey, brother, we got you. Watch what this back end will do. Well, when it was all said and done, when we took him through this sequence and built this out for him over the course of 14 plus days, he had 110 new clients. 90+% came from this model, not because of the magic webinar. And he was like, oh my gosh, Dan, I feel on one end, I'm glad I put all the focus there, but now I realize I don't have to worry about the perfect sales pitch anymore. I can just serve people at the highest level and be good for them. And I can grow my business. And that changed his whole mindset about it. He no longer felt like what we hear a lot of people say, I kind of feel like a sleazy auto salesman because of having to learn all these, tactics around the webinar stuff. And this is able to shift the game because what you're really doing is feeding into the thing people are feeding into right now is the episodic model. Netflix kind of invented it, in my opinion, the episode model. I don't know. How many of you ever binge watch stuff? So people want to binge watch stuff and they want it now versus having to wait. So you can create that in your own small business with this type of approach. The next one is one thing. If you can think of one thing that your clients are stuck in most of the time, you create a 3 to 5 minute content piece. Again, you do that 2 to 3 days. And then lastly is you do a closeout sequence. And ideally, we do recommend I'm closing out this round of things, whatever that round of things would be, so it can be genuine. And also part for your own sanity and how you might manage this. And again, if you're doing this on your own, you can apply it. If you have a team helping you, it makes it a little bit simpler. But what is this all designed to do? Why is that model so critical? Again, this model, why does Apple do it? Because they know that they can get developers, they can get consumers to go sit in an event for whatever it is, a couple hours, couple days. They know they're building more know, respect, trust. They get people testing it because they're able to play with it and do things. They buy into it. And many of them are already in their head fascinated to reorder and or buy something else in that model. Same thing at Disney. What about you? This approach gives you the ability to do that. And you might be wondering, well, how does this work? How does it apply to me? So one of our clients did a version of this and they drive to appointments. And when we started to work with them a few months back or review them a few months back, you can see the dates here. They were only generating 38 appointments through their model per month. We grew them up to over 500. What do you think this does? Now you can see the dates here. I believe that was November, 558. They went from 38 to 558. That's 10x, right? Now it allows them to even be more selective. I don't know if you've ever felt this way. Well, I don't know if they'd be a great client. Well, it allows you to be more selective, higher value, higher profile clients, more fluent clients, if that's something that connects to you. Here's another client. we're working with right now. This is from this month. This is only a part of the month. This is, I think, through 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whenever our team grabbed the snapshot. But for them in their model, applying all of these things directly to an education-based event and the other things, connection campaigns. They've had 11,000 views in their website. They've had 1,300 opt-ins for their different programs. They've had 179 orders. Their orders vary from $7, $17, and all the way up to a $15,000 or $17,500 program. And they've had 161 appointments on the calendar to talk about working with their main program at 17 grand. How about you? How about you? Just imagine what would happen if you're wherever you're at. Maybe you're at like them, 10, 20, 30 appointments a month, and you were able to scale up to something like this. How would it impact you? How would it change the game? Now, if some of you do strategy sessions or consultations of some kind, can you type yes? I'm just curious. How many of you do strategy sessions or consultations or phone appointments? Can you type yes? Yes? No? Yes? John? Yes? Okay. So many of you take that approach. Al, no, and that's okay. I'm giving you a variety of industries, from service businesses to product businesses to other things. So this is for you if you're struggling to get appointments to show up, be able to you have low conversions and you just want more clients, leads, and appointments. So this is a client we work with that when we drove through their model in that one single month, they had 154 appointments. And again, the model that we just described is similar for the appointment model. We don't have time to break it all down and architect, but it's similar. Once they book, you have a series of warm-up emails, you have texts similar to the blueprint we just shared leading up to the appointment without overwhelming them, but also to build affinity. So get this. They had 154, I wrote over it, so I'm going to clear it. I'm sorry, 134 appointments that showed up. How many people do you know that are doing whatever, that have an 80% or higher show-up rates besides doctors, dentists, and chiropractors? This is an education model because of some of what we're talking about here. In addition to that, of the 134, they had 126 qualified candidates. You know, some people will use the fancy term MQL, Marketing Qualified Lead, MQL. There's also SQL. If you've not heard these terms, don't worry about it, but just making you aware of it. That's what we do here. SQL is Superior Qualified Lead, right? So they had some that were lower level leads, right? So once they had the call, they realized, it was only about 8 in the way we approach this. 126, and they enrolled 75 people into their $20,000 program. 75 people. Now, some were paid in full, some were installments over a period, but if that happened in 1 month for your business, you can do your own math here. How would that change the game for you, right? How would it impact you? We're not done. How about this? This is another client, a little bit smaller, 183 book calls. 148 showed up, again, very close to that 80%. 134 offers. They weren't as good as enrollment. They only enrolled 44 people. Only. Their program is a $25,000 program per year in a month. This is a 1-month snapshot. Now, you might naturally be saying to yourself, well, I'm not sure if this applies to my industry. Well, let me hit that really quick. If you're someone who wants more leads, more appointments, more clients, this applies to you. All of it. And you might also be saying, well, Dan, will this work for me if I'm new? And it reminds me of a story named Bruce. Bruce is an artist, literally. He's literally an artist. And he wanted to build a coaching business. He wanted art to be a catalyst for change and inspiration and encouragement in a time when the world is suffering with anxiety and depression and all these things, and art is an outlet. And he was on a mission. When we met Bruce, he was in complete tech overwhelm and tech hell. And he was like, I'm like trying to do 4 or 5 different platforms, and they all are very confusing, and I've got no traction. We said, Bruce, time out. Can you set up a Zoom meeting? He said, yeah. I said, well, why don't we if we gave you emails and messages to send out to your list, could you send those out and invite him to that Zoom page to register? He's like, yeah, I could do that. That's pretty simple. I said, okay. So we did that. We got to work with him. So how big's your list, Bruce? He said, Phil, do you remember? I think it was like 400 people or so, give or take, 400-ish. And so what ended up happening was Bruce invited, those people, and he had about 125 people register. And then 75 people showed up to that mini event. He made his offer. He got 4 new coaching sales that day. And we regrouped with Bruce, said, what did you like? What did you not like? And what's working, what's not working? And what do you want to do next? And he said, Dan, I love this. Can I do this weekly? I said, well, sure, we can do this weekly. And so he Started inviting the same people each week. One week he would paint a fox and show them the fundamentals of that. The next week it was a horse. The next week it was a bear. Same foundation, fundamental approach, different story, essentially, different painting, just like your business. Same foundation. Don't get tired of sharing the same fundamental principles that work in your business. Just make it a different story / different painting that you're talking about. And that's how you can shift the game. Long and the short of it, he did that once a week, first 30 days. He had 39 new enrollments in his coaching program. After 90 days, he had 117 new clients in his coaching program. And then he built a residual recurring revenue model in addition, over 4,500 or 4,000 to 4,500 a month, brand new. So whether you're brand new, whether you're in the middle, whether you're a seasoned pro or anywhere in between, we've had experience working with people like that. Now, speaking, I think it was Al, the direct offer model is not that dissimilar. We completely have this engineered as well, from offers to the stages of the offer and the way to go about this to maximize conversion, plus upgrades, plus downgrades if it's relevant. And then most importantly is how to set the stage for your follow-up process. And again, if you want more personalized, customized approach for you, we've got you. So we've covered vision and growth plan. We've covered connection campaigns. We've covered fundamentals of lead machines. We've covered education-based events. We talked about going deep. This is the new model because it's what you do for people. It's what you do for your clients. It's what you do for your potential clients, not what you do to them to get them to be a client. It's what you do for them. And if you like that approach, like a lot of our clients, like Dean Graziosi, for example, Dean, I don't know if you know Dean. If you don't know Dean, no big deal. But Dean, we got a chance to work in his early days together and helped give him a jump start. And in our time, Dean, in his own words, said, we added about 11 million in growth together with the strategies we're talking about. And, Dean has gone on to some really prolific things now, partners with Tony Robbins and many others. So another example, maybe you're more like Dr. Sachin. Dr. Sachin is someone who had been encouraged and inspired to make a difference in the functional health industry with his patients and also his functional medicine practitioners, fellow practitioners like him. He developed a unique system. And so Dr. Sachin, when we met him, he had a bunch of challenges. He was the CEO. He was the number one producer in the business and driver. They weren't growing and he felt stuck. I don't know if anybody can relate. When we worked with him, we helped him generate 9,800 leads in about 100 days, give or take, and it added 1.7 million in revenue. How would that change the game for you? Out of 154 appointments booked, they had 75 enrollments for his multi-thousand, I think Phil could probably correct me, but I believe it was about a $20,000 to $30,000 program. We helped him then get a sales team in place also for him and his family to be able to diversify and free him up. He called it being the driver of the bus. It freed us up so that we could be the driver of the bus. That's the power of what these 5 steps can do. So here's what I'd like you to do before we kind of wrap up this segment, and then we're going to get into segment 2 here right around the corner. So how would you rate your vision and growth plan right now on a 1 is low, 10 is high? For your 2025, 2026, 2027, how would you rate the clarity on your engineered vision and growth plan of what you're going to do? You've got it mapped out in math and so on. So I see 2, I see 6 coming in, 7, 8. Thomas, that's very honest, 0, 4, right? So I encourage you, write down a note of what would it take to improve it? What would it take to improve it? 5 from John, Dan is 7. What can you do today to improve it? Wherever you're at, right? One action step from today. One action step. Okay. What's one step though you can take to do that? Next, I want you to rate your efficiency at connection campaigns. Rate your efficiency at connection campaigns on a 1 low, 10 high. Do you have them ongoing without you? Right? Rate 1 low, 10 high. 2, I see a 2, I see a 1 for connection campaigns. You've got connection campaigns running all the time. Tim, the question is, how would you rate your efficiency and effectiveness right now with connection campaigns running in the background? 1 low, 10 high. John is a 2, Tim's a 0. This is common. This is a big part of the missing link in people's marketing strategy. Al's at 0. Okay, so what's one action you can take to be able to get connection campaigns spun up, fired up, and running, right? Gene says none. Yep. So you'd be on the lower rung there of a 0 or 1. Tim, no idea. Hire you. Al, that could be a possibility. Yep. And if you want that to look at what that might take or look like, Al, then reach out to Phil here on the team, and he can talk to you about scheduling up a time to review your business, right? Some of you are putting some hearts there and so on. That's cool, right? So how would you rate your connection campaign? Now, rate your lead machines at being able to bring you a steady flow of leads every day. 1 low, 10 high, right? John, I like that. Focus on the action, get my target list to implement. So rate your lead machines, 1 low, 10 high, bringing you a steady flow of leads every day right now. See, Judy's 1, Tim is 7. That's cool. John is 4. Again, what's one action step that you've got to take to move it up at least a notch or 2 or 3, right? To turn your lead machines into something that brings you more leads. You know, if you're at 3 leads a day or 1 lead a day, what do you got to do to get it to 5 leads a day? You know, stair step it, right? Don't compare yourself to others. Just compare yourself to you before you came in here today and go up a couple notches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x. Newsletters, YouTube. That's great, Tim. Starting in January. Next, how would you rate your model for education-based conversions, right? So again, this can be done through appointment and calls, or this can be done through direct events, to offers, or both. 1 is low, 10 is high. So how would you rate your ability right now as a company and a team, like compared to, you know, again, we use Apple because Apple's the most prolific. And granted, you can naturally go, well, I don't have the budget. That you don't need it. The key is the framework and the method or model more than it is the budget. The key is education-based events shorten all company sales cycles. Get people to buy and buy more often. If you're not using it, okay, put 0 or 1, and then, okay, what's an action step so I can in 2025 get my education-based model event and or make my conversion approach right now even better. I'll even simplify it. Let's say you're not used to events at all. I'll even take that objection away. How good are you and your team at doing conversions when you talk to a prospect? If it's not minimum 3 out of 10, and if you're not at 7 out of 10 with referrals, then your conversion is off. There's a flaw. So how would you rate it? 0 to 10. Nearly 10 if I get them on the phone. Awesome. So the question would be, Tim, how many are you getting on the phone? And if it's less than a dozen a month, then we got to fix it. Unless you don't want to fix it. I mean, if that's not what you want, then I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? So 4, 1 low, 10 high. Next, how would you rate your ability to truly optimize and then scale with speed to the next level? Like if you're at 100 grand right now as a business and you want to get to 3, what is your ability to scale that right now, today, all on your own? 1 low, 10 high. If you're at 300 grand to get to $1 million, what? 1 low, 10 high. 1 million to 3 million. What's your ability to scale? 1 to 10. 1 low, 10 high. 3 million to 10 million. 1 to 10. How would you rate it? Tim says he wants more. That's awesome. How about you? 1 low, 10 high. Yep. Takes focus and teamwork for sure. Scale with speed is 2. That's honest, John. Again, with all of these, wherever you're rating yourself, Gene, 4, appreciate that. That's very honest as well. What do you have to do to take it to that next level? And now here's the thing. What would getting your marketing system dialed up? Take each of those 5 numbers and move them up 2 to 3 notches in the next 3 months. What would it do for you? Would it give you more freedom? Would it give you more peace of mind, more comfort, more clarity, more certainty, more ability to do more of the things you want to do, more ability to scale, actually bring in team members that you could bring in? And what would expanding your spokes do for you? What would expanding your spokes do for you? If wherever you're at today, whatever number of spokes, and you were able to get 15, 16, 17 spokes in the next, quarter, 6 months, 12 months, even 24 months, what would it do? How would it shift the game, right? If you want to scale, the plan is here, right? And so have you gotten some good stuff? If you've learned some good things in this first segment before we roll to the next segment in a few minutes, have you learned some good things? If you can type yes in the chat window. And I'd love to know what's one thing you've gotten that's the biggest, most impactful thing so far. Type it in, please. One key takeaway. Al says yes. Thank you, Al. Speed to implement. John, that's awesome. Who else? Posting to more places. Yeah, it can start with simple actions like that, Judy, right? So again, you have the ability to do manual and or by speed. My belief is do both where you can. Do it smart, do it profitably. That's what we are talking about all today. So that's posting to more places. That's great. What else? One key strategy from today. Evelyn, how about for you? Bentley, how about for you? Brendan, how about for you? Bruce, how about for you? Chuck, how about for you? Dan, how about for you? Dana, how about for you? Derek, how about for you? Good to see you again. Gene, Jake, John, Jolene, how about for you? Jody, Margaret, Mita, Richard, Susan, Thomas, Tracy, Zippy, more spokes on the wheel. Susan, that's great. Yeah, more spokes on the wheel. So I've already asked this, so I just got ahead of this a little bit. Now, I'd like you to imagine for a second, like what we've been talking about. want you to imagine you having come in here today, and ideally you're feeling like this. You're feeling bulletproof. In fact, you're seeing how the spokes in the wheel help you become bulletproof against cycles of the big companies to protect you, to keep you safe. Maybe to go feel like you're the world's best kept secret, like we talked about from the beginning, just waiting for the screen to pull back up.
The what?
So maybe you feel like the world's best kept secret, like we talked about this,
My baby.
Phil. Maybe you feel like the world's best kept secret. Maybe you feel like this painter, that you have something of value to the world, to the market, but you're undervalued and people are only willing to give you $300 when you see something like this that you would argue, wow, I can do better than that. I am doing better than that. I do better than that every day, twice on Tuesday, if not 100 times a day. And this went for 1.5 million, right? So what would it be worth for you to have the system in place? Because at this point you might be excited, but you just don't know what to do next. Maybe you're excited by the possibility, the ability to grow, and you're at a place where you don't want to make the same mistakes maybe you've made in the past, or maybe try something else that maybe hasn't worked for you. So I want to eliminate all of that risk for you right now. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to eliminate any risk for you at this point, because what do you need right now for your own mastery in business and success? What do you need? Do you need accountability? Do you need peer support? Do you need the strategy? Do you need the ability to have a system that's being built for you, run for you, managed for you? Well, guess what? If any of those things are true, and there's a whole lot more, like even education and fueling that fire, what if my team actually helped you implement and get this in place? What if our team helped you get everything we've been talking about in place for you? Would you want us to do that? Type yes in the chat window if you'd like to go faster and find out how we can help you implement and execute this directly with no risk. Speed is key. Yes, yes. See yeses coming in. Yes, Gene, yes. Great. Well, guess what? We can, and we're going to show you how. But first, what if I told you it won't cost you a dime to get started? It's true. That's true. It won't cost you a dime to get started. We're going to help you avoid the mistakes. We're going to help you see blind spots, get unstuck, eliminate the tech headaches. And I want us and our team to get on the phone with you. Take everything from a broad place, and we're going to narrow it down. And we're going to discuss exactly where you are right now. We're going to discuss and show you how we can implement this for you. And we're going to do all of that for free. Now, you might naturally go, well, Dan, why would you do that? Well, I'm looking for the perfect fit to be our next big success story with our show, our book, more books that we have for 2025 rolling in the next couple of years, an online TV show and a TV show network-wise that we're building into. And we need to know if we're a good fit. And if you are, we'll invite you to move forward with us. And the beauty is we meet you where you're at. You know, if you're a smaller business, we've got a smaller plan to stair step up into, because, you know, there's no point in talking about things you can't afford, right? The key is how committed are you? Like with that third question earlier today, are you committed to solve your problems for your clients? Well, number one, you got to solve your problems for you. And one of those problems may be marketing. So if you want our help for free for us to review and do a custom plan, we're going to make it super easy, eliminate any potential friction by talking to you about your plan. You can go to breakthrough3x.com when we have our discussion. We'll unlock some of the things we're going to talk about with our Breakthrough 3X Marketing Copilot. We're going to give you your customized plan, take it from broad to now narrow, specific, and we're going to introduce you to the proven strategies that we would do if we were in your shoes, and then we'll customize the plan and invite you to move forward with us. And if we've got a fit, we'll move forward. If we don't, you can take that plan and go implement it. You know, I don't know if you know who this guy is. Anybody know who Jay Abraham is? So I've been blessed and fortunate to, you know, serve Jay at a really cool level, and as a result, create some reciprocation with Jay and also earn his time and respect in the work and what we do. He says, Dan has dedicated a large portion of the last decade to help small businesses from all over the country grow and increase or turn around their profit picture. If you know anything about Jay, he doesn't easily endorse anyone. He does it through direct response mechanisms. He's got a lot of proprietary approaches. He's very, very strong on branding. He's somebody I've known for a long time. He has integrity. He helps people. He's one of the good guys. Operates in a realm I don't. He helps clients of all sizes and types. This model is geared to meet you where you're at, and we can help you. I don't know if you know who Joe Polish is. If not, no big deal. Joe says, you know, we talk about our unique mechanisms. Joe calls out a few because we have them in our book, by the way, because I don't want to let anything get in the way of us helping you. even our most advanced strategies are in the book for you to use. So at the very least, you've got that. But he says, if you're an entrepreneur trying to grow your business, it's vital to focus on getting and keeping customers. Would you agree? Right? Get and keep customers. In this new book, Dan focuses on the key elements you can implement. 5 pillars of direct response branding, the right fit filter, the ultimate pricing formula. If you ever felt like you priced too little or want to price more, how to go about doing that in a strategic way. The ultimate pricing formula, the education-based event model. He'll help you create irresistible offers. If your offers are not selling, it's probably not the marketing. It's your offer. Most people don't even put time into it. Work with clients you love, grow your business. This is a book you can refer to over and over. And it just so happened that we helped Joe expand Genius Network while we did what we're talking about here today as well. So if you want our team to help you, you can go to breakthrough3x.com/apply. Schedule your free one-to-one consultation. We'll review your business. We'll review your map. We'll give you a custom roadmap of what we would do and applying these 5 key strategies, help you find those hidden blind spots and a whole lot more. So go to breakthrough3x.com/apply. And then Phil, because, I think you hear from someone like Jay or see something like Jay or Joe, if these people and they're kind of in their own celebrity model and celebrity expert model, but you might be more able to relate to an everyday kind of human being. So Phil, if you could put the short video from Greg on for a minute, that would be great. Just let me know, just give me a heads up when you're ready and I'll turn my screen off. And I want you to hear from Greg. This is someone who I've got a lot of love and respect for, him and his wife. We've worked together now just over a year. I mean, he's now 100% year-over-year growth. We helped him slow or stop the shoulder seasons. We've built out these spokes slowly but surely. In his case, built him up. He's a blue-collar guy, kind of like my dad, who worked the lines at General Motors. And I just love what Greg and his family, and we'd love to help you. If you're more like Greg, an everyday kind of person, I think you'll really relate and connect to this. Phil, is that ready to go?
It is ready.
So check this out and we will be right back.
So for me, before I met Dan, and his team, this is something that we knew we wanted to grow, but we didn't know exactly how to get there and grow exponentially and to scale. And so there was a lot of overwhelm, a lot of uncertainty. There wasn't much consistency and or frequency, if a lot or any, in our marketing for sure, and a lot of other places. And so this is what really sets Dan apart and his team apart from everybody else. He's not only well-versed in everything marketing, he's well-versed on all things in business, not only in personal growth or team or numbers, whatever you're looking for. And this is what we really, or I should say, I really love about him and his business and his team is helping us grow to that next level on all aspects of business. Yeah, and so the next 24 months, we've had actually the which is not normal for us in our business. We've had 2 back-to-back months that are bigger and better than our summer months. And it's really fun to see the ramp up of the marketing of whether that would be SEO, Google, LSA, YouTube, Facebook, all of these conversations that Dan and his team bring us into. And it's just on a consistent basis, being able to find or see those things, just the calls coming in.
So how cool is that? Can you relate to Greg? Maybe his story, maybe what he's going through. We have dozens and dozens of clients like this that we've worked with over time. And obviously we've given you a glimpse of being able to do that. Really proud of what we've done with 2 clients that we work with in the last 30 days that set the stage to sell their companies for nice multiples. And we'd love to show you how to put this in place. And it starts with a single phone call, right? Let's have a one-to-one conversation. We make it risk-free that way. We'll identify where you're at, where you want to go, and we'll show you a blueprint to get there. And if we've got a good fit, we can talk about the next steps. And, the question I'd ask you to think about is like, if you don't do this, what are your options? Well, you got a couple options. One, you can go at it on your own. And I'd challenge you to think, how's that working so far? If it's gotten you to where you are and where you want to go, and you haven't run into a lot of the in your you can see the forest through the trees, then by all means go do it. And I hope you do. And I hope that if I see you out at a restaurant or I see you as I'm traveling over the world, that you come up to me and go, Dan, what you shared with me, I was able to go implement and apply. I'd love nothing more than that. Or maybe you did that even from our book. I'd love nothing more than that. And that's certainly an option. Another option is that you go, hire another VA or another agency or whatever the case might be. And what I can share with you is be careful. And ideally, you've got some tools that if you're going to hire anybody in the future, you're able to ask some of the questions we gave you up front overall, and beware of amateurs because they're everywhere. And now most marketing has been watered down, filtered down, and almost anybody with a couple $100 can get a certification and be called an expert. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. If you'd like to go deeper, like Greg or any of the dozens of stories we've shared with you today, then I encourage you to simply schedule a time, go to breakthrough3x.com/apply. That's breakthrough3x.com/apply. Because here's what I believe in my heart. If you just give us a test, you say, I'll try it. You book the call. Then let's say we have a fit. We start working together. I believe within 90 days, we will show you exactly how to double, triple your leads and start you on the path to getting sustainability, predictability, and profitability through marketing. Maybe for some of you, the first time ever. And also have us build it, lead it, run it, management, and set you up a system that becomes an A-level system that within X amount of time, typically the spirit of our work with our private clients is we work together for up to 2 years. Then we hand it off. We're out. We're gone. Because the idea is the system carries forward. And now you can get a B-level person to carry that A-level system forward. And that's what a lot of what we do for you if we work together. So that's the best that could happen. The worst that could happen, we have a call, we're not a fit. You walk away with a proven custom roadmap, specific one-to-one based on your business versus, in a one-to-many kind of setting like this. So if that's what you want, then by all means, book your session. Go to breakthrough3x.com/apply. That's breakthrough3x.com/apply. I look forward to working with you and being able to serve you at the highest level. Now, with that in mind, that's part 1. Part 2 and part 3 are coming up right around the bend. And so I'm going to take a vote from you. You're here. You're committed. You're on the hook here.